Now then, updating descriptions, the super effective way. That's a great headline, isn't it? And we talk about getting your attention, interest, desire, and so on. There's a really simple thing you can do, or two things that you can do, and they really help you to get more sales. Remember we talked right at the beginning about proof. One of the problems people have when they take a course is a bit like going to a library. Remember libraries? They had books and they were often years out of date. They're even more out of date quite often these days. So when you look for a course, a bit like looking for a library book, you have to be sure that it's really up to date. How can you give proof to your prospective students that your course is really up to date? Well, there's several ways you can do it. The first thing is, as you add a new lecture, you can actually update your description to say, course updated on, and give the date that it's updated. Now, I do this all the time, and I am absolutely convinced that gives me a great boost over the competitors and other courses that don't do that. So very simply, if I add a new lecture or add something new to the course, then I add course updated on and put the date on. And of course I make sure that's not too long then between updating the course, because you can look out of date very quickly. But it's a great message to potential students, hey, this course is really up to date. And if they're looking at a course of mine and a course of somebody else's that's similar, then mine's updated then. They've no idea when theirs is updated. Even if mine is more expensive, which it usually is, they buy mine. Great proof there. The other thing to do when you're updating your descriptions, one thing to add in, and it works very well for me, and Udemy mentions this, if somebody goes to your sales page on Udemy, anyone can see how many students you've got. It's on the little box on the left and it's available on the right and so on. There's various places where you can spot it. But, you know, people look for your headline and look at your description. So I also make one of the first lines of my description over 100 students, over 4,000 students, almost 10,000. I never actually use almost. I tried that and didn't like it, so take that back. So over 9,500 students, over 9,000 students, over 20 students already. If you're early days, so when I launch a course that's quite new, I put 100 students in the first 2 days, and then 3 days, 300 students, 7 days, 350 students in the first week, and this sort of thing. And for the first few weeks, the first month, you can do that. And again, that's proof that we mentioned in Lecture 1 of what you can do, and very nice way of reassuring the students that, hey, there's all these other students in there, it must be good. Now, I know that the details how many students there are around is shown already, but I don't think it stands out enough. I noticed that when people looking in the search pages for Udemy, it shows things like if you've got 9,650 students, it shows something like 9.6k. That's part of their programming. I would like them to change that, but at the moment no sign of them doing so, but I think that's wrong. I think 9,650 looks better. They have a problem with commas, of course, because large parts of the world don't use commas to separate thousands, but even 9,650 or 1,312 or even 118 students, whatever. I think the way they do it, 0.1 of 1,000 if you've got 100, I don't think that looks right. So you can get around that by actually saying, and it's a great way of offering proof, exactly how many students you've got. So keep your descriptions up to date. You can see from this course already how important descriptions are. Lots of people tend to write the description, forget about it, and then complain, I'm not getting any sales. Test it, test new things. But the two very important things to add there is how many students you've got and when you last updated the course. And remember, if you're doing that and updating the course, it gives you a good reason to go back to it, and also gives you a good reason to go back to update the number of students.